Greetings, my name is Chantel Ndlovu and this is my presentation on the book Maths for Third Graders, Data Handling Edition. In the opening scene of the book, I introduced the character of Lebo, who is a third grader who happened to be watching cartoons who spoke on data handling, and this led to her wanting to know more about the topic. The reason why I introduced the character of Lebo is because I wanted learners to be able to relate to her. With her being a third grader and enjoying watching cartoons, I thought that the learners would be able to relate to her and actually give the book a chance. I also introduced the character of Lebo because I did not want the book to be too formal with just definitions and examples, but I wanted to give it a backstory that will have the learners feel as if they are not reading an academic article or book, but rather just a normal storybook that they can enjoy but still learn from. With Lebo wanting to learn more about data handling, I decided to then define what data handling actually is. I defined data handling as the gathering, organizing, and presenting information in a way that is easy to understand and use. I then went on to define data in simple terms that are suitable for third graders. I also included the examples of data in our environments. I included examples such as people's favorite drinks, shoe sizes, the number of siblings that we have, etc. The reason for adding these simple examples of data was because I did not want learners thinking that data is this big, complicated word. I wanted to break down the word data and show learners that it is information that is all around us. I then went on to define how we actually collect the data. I mentioned examples such as asking people questions, reading books and articles, or just finding data in our environments. I then gave the example of Lebo finding data in her home. Lebo found data in her home in terms of the different shoes and shoe sizes available in her home. I also included a picture of the different shoes that Lebo found in her home. Once data has been collected, I then moved on to organizing data. I defined what organizing data is and why we need to do so. I also included a picture of Lebo's process of organizing data where she sorted the shoes in their different sizes. I also included ways of organizing data by means of a tally table as well as a frequency table. I defined what a tally table is and included the definition of a tally. I also did the same for the frequency table. I defined what a frequency means and what a frequency table is, and also continuing with Lebo's example, I gave examples of the frequency table and tally table. I drew them both and included the information according to the shoe sizes and the number of shoes that Lebo found. After organizing data, we then move on to presenting data. I also explained why we present data and I gave two ways of presenting data. I included a bar graph as well as a pie chart. I defined them both in simple terms, and still continuing with Lebo's data, I drew a bar graph as well as a pie chart. I also included two other ways of presenting data, and the reason for this was because I did not want learners to think that the only ways of presenting data is through a bar graph and a pie chart. I included a line graph as well as a pictograph, and I also included pictures of both. I defined them as well. After presenting our data, we normally analyze it. I also, using very simple terms, explained why we analyze data and how we use it. I gave examples of questions that Lebo can use to analyze her data. In the book, learners are then required to answer those questions as part of analyzing data, and on the next page, the answers are provided to guide learners. Should the learners struggle with analyzing the data, learners can go back to the beginning of the book and reread the notes and try again. To close off the book, I included an activity that the learners or readers can do on their own. In the activity, I gave them unorganized data that they have to organize themselves, present, as well as analyze. The reason for this was I wanted to assess the learner's understanding of data handling after reading the book. In the book, I put the process of data handling in a step-by-step formation. I started by defining what data handling is, defining what data is, how we collect data, organize it, present it, as well as analyze it. I hope that after reading the book, learners will be able to understand that data handling is a process. The book is not too difficult to read. It uses very simple language, and I used pictures to aid the learners in their understanding of the different definitions. I hope that learners enjoy the book, and through Lebo and her data are able to learn what the process of data handling is and how it works. Thank you for your time.